Hi everyone, I'm Bryn.
I'm Neiko.
And this is another special campfire edition of Friends Who Crime. Toot toot. Did-it-to-do, Friends Who Crime. Why did I say toot toot?
I forgot about the fact that ours are campfire editions.
Yes. Round 2.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I said toot toot because we are not talking about trains at all today.
Unfortunately.
I know. But Neiko, it's so good to have you on again. Always a good time.
Yeah. Thank you. We should make an episode about just you can do it on trains, like a train murder, like a cabin car murder or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Someone must have killed somebody on a train one time.
There's something out there.
There has to be. Somebody get on it. One of our listeners get on that. Go kill somebody on a train car.
No.
So we have content.
Friends don't let friends commit crimes, Neiko.
Oh, right. But
you're actually my first double appearance guest. Like there hasn't been anyone else that's been on the podcast twice, so that's kind of exciting.
I feel special.
You are. Since you've been on before, do you have any like updates or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm recording an album that's kicking my ass. Turns out playing music, and especially playing music well, is hard. So there's that. I'm starting a new job soon, so I unfortunately will be leaving the podcast as editor and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess besides everything changing, not much has changed.
Yeah, and by we, I mean me. I'm very sad that you're leaving, but I know that it's for good things, and I'm rooting for you. So if that means I have to lose you, that's okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. I like doing it, but yeah, it does take a little bit more time than I'm able to afford at the moment.
Yep. Understandable. I totally get that. So it will be back to me editing the episodes, and you guys might have to give me some grace. But I promise I'm gonna do my best. I should be okay. I should be able to make it sound like it normally does.
You'll be fine.
Well, for my Brinterruption today, I'm gonna keep it short. My birthday is in a few days, so that's fun.
Yay.
29?
Holy
29?
crap. Holy crap.
I'm getting old.
Yeah. One away from the big 3-0.
I know. I don't want to think about it.
It's just another year.
I will say, though, for my 30th birthday, I already have it planned out. I'm going to have a party that's all, like, pop punk emo themed, and everyone has to dress like a scene kid, and we listen to, like, Fall Out Boy and Evanescence and Panic at the Disco all night.
MCR.
Yes.
No, it's MCR and then just on loop, I'm Not Okay because I'm 30.
Yes. Oh, and then, of course, we have to throw in the Bo Burnham 30 song.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I'm not a huge fan of Bo Burnham. I know. Straight me
honestly,
on the cross.
Me neither, but the songs, that song in particular, the Turning 30 or whatever it is, I'm going to have to play that.
Yeah.
The other thing in my life is my brother is getting married this weekend. My little brother, he was on the episode about Elizabeth Bathory.
The Bathe in the Blood one?
Yes.
I bathe in his blood? Yeah.
I bathe in his blood.
I bathe in his blood.
And he's getting married in like 48 hours.
Holy crap. Are you going to it?
Yeah.
Is it in Austin?
No, it's in Dallas.
Ew.
So I drive up tomorrow night after work, and then wedding is on Friday, and then I come back to Austin on Saturday, and then I have a show Saturday night, and my single comes out the same day as the wedding, and then my birthday is Sunday, and I have to work, and then I go to dinner.
You got a lot of stuff going on.
Too much.
Add to the Brinterruption the single drop. That's
oh,
big.
True. By the time this comes out, it will be out on streaming services. Neiko and I's single. It's called Why Ohio, and it's about Ohio and
why
corn.
would you ever want to go there?
Exactly. No offense to people that live in Ohio, but also yes offense.
Yeah. Nothing that
And-
you did specifically. It's just your state lacks to give anything good to society.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, arguably.
That's an industry plant. They put that there. They put that there.
But yeah, so go listen to that. It's on all the things: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon Music, Deezer, Tidal, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the things.
Golly, who uses Deezer?
You know, I don't even know what a Deezer is, so I have no idea. But if you use it, it's there.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to get into it?
Let me light the campfire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Campfire sounds commence.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the campfire. I'm just gonna loop that for an hour. Just gonna loop
Please
that sound
don't.
for an hour.
Oh God. Well, today we're veering away from true crime just a little bit, just for fun, and we're gonna talk about some more hauntings. I am sticking with Austin again because there were 2 more places that I didn't get to talk about last episode. And Austin is apparently full of ghosty ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So had to keep it in the hometown. So if you haven't listened to the first episode, it's episode 7. And we talk about the Driscoll Hotel in the clay pit. Pretty crazy. Neiko was on for that one as well. Mm-hmm. Today, we are talking about the Littlefield House and Oakwood Cemetery.
Is the Littlefield House the Harry Potter house? Is that the one that we were talking about where it's like there might be tunnels to it in the middle of nowhere? Okay,
yes.
Cool. Yeah, we touched on it in the first episode, and then...
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And I have been to Littlefield House several times, most recently in January. Because it's on UT campus. That's where I went to school.
Oh, it is? I didn't realize it was that I figured it was in the middle of nowhere.
No, it's right on UT campus.
Oh.
Like, right on the edge of campus.
I probably thought it was in the middle of nowhere because I'm literally picturing the house from Harry Potter. And how, like, the tunnels lead to that one house that's in that one magic village that's outside of Hogwarts.
Yes. Similar vibe, but put it right in the middle of
Oh, okay.
busy downtown.
Got it.
But I actually haven't been to the second place we're going to talk about, Oakwood Cemetery. Have not been there yet, but I really want to. So with that, let's start talking about the Littlefield House. This house looks like it's kind of straight out of a Victorian movie, all fancy, old-timey, which usually means it's got some serious ghost potential. Serious ghost potential.
Mm-hmm. Serious. It's so serious it's black.
Wow, Sirius Black, another Harry Potter reference, and we're only a few minutes in. Well, this house definitely has a lot of activity. People hear rumors about it all the time, especially about a lady named Alice Littlefield. So, who were the people behind this creepy-ass mansion? Well, we're gonna meet George and Alice Littlefield. This guy, Major George Washington Littlefield, was a big deal in Texas history. Think Civil War vet turned cattle king and banker?
Man of many hats.
He rolled into Austin back in 1883 and basically became like besties with the University of Texas. And he threw a ton of money at them. Mm-hmm. And he became a regent of the university. His wife, Alice Payne Tiller Littlefield, sounds pretty cool too. She was from Virginia. She married George in 1863 and was apparently super smart and artsy. We're talking like painting and piano skills that would make you super jealous, and she could talk in like a million languages. Now, even though they seemed to have it all and they were really wealthy, George and Alice went through some tough stuff. They actually lost both of their babies when they were really tiny. which is just really heartbreaking. But instead of being sad, well, instead of just being sad, they turned into like super aunt and uncle goals, that's my vibe, super aunt goals.
Mm-hmm.
They actually paid for all 29 of their nieces and nephews to go to college.
Jesus Christ. 29 is way too many.
29. I can't even imagine. But also, Littlefield House, their house, was designed to have like a ton of room so that all of the family could stay there while they were studying at UT. Mm-hmm. So, super supportive family, just wanting to take care of nieces and nephews, things like that. Fast forward to 1893, and bam, the house is finally finished. Big shot architect James Warrenberger designed this place for George, and it cost him a whopping $50,000 back in the day.
Whoa. Whoa.
Just for comparison, it is over $1.5 million today.
Like adjusted for inflation type of thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he made sure that it was built right on the edge of the original UT campus. Like, he was that invested in the school that he wanted his house on campus.
Wow.
Fun fact, George was also the guy who made sure UT stayed put in central Austin, which is why the campus is where it is today.
What did he do to make sure it didn't? Like, were they planning on moving it and like they wanted to leave Austin?
Well, I know there are like I don't even know if they're like satellite campuses, but there's UT Arlington, UT El Paso, UT Dallas, like all these, UT San Antonio. And I don't know if maybe in the past they were like, maybe we'll do our main campus in Dallas. But he was like, no, do it in Austin. It's better. And he was right.
Do it in Austin. It's better. And they said, I mean, okay. This guy has given us so much money. If we leave, he'll be pissed.
He literally lives here.
He lives here.
So let's talk about the house itself, because it's got like that really classic haunted house vibe. We talked about the Harry Potter reference, but also I think of American Horror Story, that first season. It's Victorian, specifically, just to get smart with it, it's Second Empire style, which basically means it's fancy as fuck.
Yes. Wait.
So, like, sturdy brick from St. Louis with red sandstone details, colorful shingles on the roof to make it extra eye-catching. But the real showstoppers are the two towers. One is round, one is square, and it sticks up from the roof. And to me, you can just picture the ghosts looking out those windows. And the details on the outside are insane. The front doors and the side doors even have this really delicate, like, wrought iron, custom-made trim. And George even had his initials worked into the iron and into the stone. Like, yeah, bitch, this is my haunted mansion.
He put the monogram on there? like a set of towels?
Yeah, literally.
Just put his shit on there?
The front steps are like this really fancy marble. It leads to this big wraparound porch. Perfect for, like, sitting out in the god-awful heat and drinking iced tea.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, maybe seeing a little ghost float by. The porch is even covered in fancy porcelain tiles. So,
that's
like,
so strange.
$1.5 million mansion.
Yeah.
Step inside, and it's like you've gone back in time. The ceilings are, like, crazy high, like 14 feet. Everywhere you look, there's some kind of fancy wood. What is it? That is mahogany.
Is that a reference to?
That's a Hunger Games reference.
Dog. I can only get so much pop culture. I capped out with a Harry Potter.
I know, I'm sorry. But literally, there's bird's eye maple in there, there's curly walnut, and it's all, like, hand carved, with these really intricate designs. The fireplaces are huge and made of marble, sometimes marble mixed with wood, and the main staircase is also hand-carved with Major Littlefield's initials again. The whole place was decked out by this super famous company from Chicago called Marshall Field and Company, which apparently was like top-notch. Shrug. All this being said about the house, the inside, I've never seen the inside because UT doesn't let anyone in there. No one.
UT owns the house now?
Yes. It's
Okay.
like part of campus, and it's used as like a really small office building, but there's like a handful of people, maybe like 5 to 7 people that actually work in there, and no one else is let in ever. We will circle back around to that in a minute because we'll talk about theories as to why. But here's a sweet little detail. George actually imported a Himalayan cedar tree just for Alice. He loved her so much that he even had soil shipped all the way from the Himalayas so that the tree would feel at home.
Whoa.
And that tree is still there today. It's huge and majestic. It's been growing a long time, and it's kind of a reminder of their love story, alleged love story. And it makes you wonder if that tree has seen some spooky things over the years.
Is it outside the house or inside the house?
Outside.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of in the lawn. There's like a small lawn around. Now, things took a sad turn for George and Alice around 1912 when Alice was 65. She started dealing with this mysterious nervous condition. Basically, she got super paranoid and had these scary visions and thought something terrible was going to happen to her family, like they'd be murdered or she'd be kidnapped. She'd have these hysterical fits, and poor little George was at a loss. He tried to get her help, even took her to a sanitarium, but he couldn't bring himself to leave her there for good. So for the rest of George's life, until he died in 1920, Alice stayed in the Littlefield House with 3 nurses, supposedly taking care of her.
Sounds like she just got a mild case of anxiety. And they're like, I don't know.
Well, and this is the thing. This is the
Have you
other
tried an
story
SSRI?
I've heard. Right? The other thing I've heard is that she... he took her to a sanitarium, but at the time, in the 1800s, early 1900s, that was not accepted. Like, it would have been kind of a source of shame to have someone in a sanitarium, especially your wife.
Yeah.
So the other side of the story is that George used to actually lock Alice in one of the towers. And that when George died, Alice miraculously improved a lot.
Aww.
So it makes you wonder if her anxieties were somehow tied to George.
Being alive.
Not even being alive. I honestly think that maybe he was, like, giving her something to make her like crazy and paranoid, and then he just like locked her away to hide her from everyone because he didn't want that public stigma, that public shame.
Very interesting. It's like what's that term? It's like, it seems like it's like Munchausen's. Like she was no longer getting the validation that she was ill, and then no longer was ill.
Yeah, I mean, that could totally be it. Once George passed away, she regained her mental health. She was out back in the world, and she had like a pretty active social life until she passed away in 1935 at 88 years old. So with all that history and a little bit of tragedy, it's no surprise that the Littlefield House has a reputation for being haunted. Makes sense. Over the years, tons of people have shared their ghost stories and spooky experiences, and a lot of it seems to be connected to Alice Littlefield. One of the most common things that people report hearing is phantom piano music coming from upstairs.
Oh, because she was a pianist.
She might still be, tickling the ivories from beyond the grave.
Diddling the keys.
Diddling the keys.
She's up there diddling the keys.
Others have heard disembodied footsteps going up and down the grand staircases. In the past, students, university staff, even the security guards have reported this. And one story even talks about a security guard hearing someone walking around upstairs late at night after the place was completely locked up and secured. And I do know from being there that they send security to patrol the house every, half hour.
Huh.
Yeah.
What, just because, they don't want kids going towards it or going in it?
Yeah, they don't want people defacing it. They don't want people, having seances.
I mean, yeah.
But they can't actually stop people from being outside.
I wonder how much of that is them, because, you look up the house and it looks pretty ornate and fancy. I wonder how much of their strict regulation of who goes in it is, preventing, what's the word? Vandalism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because kids get in there, they're going to be shitheads and, scratch balls onto, a staircase.
Right.
Or, the handholds and stuff like that.
And it is a state historical monument. So there's, the sign outside that, has a description.
Yeah.
I don't know what this was.
It's
I know
steeple.
it's a podcast and people can't see me, but I'm making a sign with my arms.
You are the A to YMCA.
It's not just sounds, either. People have claimed to actually see a woman in an old-fashioned dress in the hallways. They usually assume it's Alice, but no one can ever really make out her face. Some people have also seen faces looking out of those windows in the towers, which is super creepy. And there are even stories about a former housekeeper who died in the house that still hangs around. A lot of people who have been in the house say they get this feeling like they're being watched, which is really common with paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
And get this, objects have apparently moved on their own. Some people have even heard screams echoing through the house at night. The sound of someone running on the stairs is another one of the students and staff, all reporting that. And for some people, the house just feels heavy and really oppressive, especially right around 6:30 p.m. for some reason.
It's a specific time.
Apparently, the security company that looks after the place has a rule that they only investigate if multiple motion detectors go off at the same time, because single alarms happen all the time.
Huh.
Spooky.
Very curious.
Finally, the portraits of Alice that are still hanging in the house. People say her eyes will follow you as you walk by. And then one really eerie story that I thought was interesting. There was a grandchild of a staff member that works in the building. The grandchild hugged that grandma and says that she smells like a ghost.
Well, dusty?
I guess.
Grandma, you smell dusty.
Theoretically, children and animals are more sensitive to spirits because as adults we're told they're not real, that's not a real thing, but children and animals don't know that. So when they experience something like, hey, you smell like a ghost, it's So interestingly, Alice's ghost stories don't stick just to the house. The Littlefield dormitory, which was built in 1927 and named after Alice and her family, is also said to have some ghostly happenings. But the vibe is totally different there. In the dorm, Alice is often seen as kind of this guardian angel watching over the female freshmen who typically live there. Some students even have a tradition of holding a seance to thank her for times they think she might have helped them avoid accidents.
What? Okay.
One student who lived in the dorm said she heard weird snoring sounds at all hours and saw the lights flickering in the study room when she was the only one there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she's maybe a little more restless in the house, but more of a protector in the dorm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that, and this is speculation, and it's just going off rumors that I've heard and found online, but there are stories that George Littlefield intentionally had them build the dorm across the street and made sure it was all female.
Okay.
So he could watch and potentially prey on all the girls going in and out. And then that is maybe part of why Alice's ghost in the dorm is more of a protector.
Right. I mean, there's also the other option of the lights flickering because it's a bum-ass old building.
Yes.
Because it was built in the 1800s.
Yes.
So
well, the dorm was built in the 1920s, late 1920s.
That thing is spanking new. That thing is brand new.
Listen, parts of UT are very old and decrepit.
Yeah.
But even with all these stories, the University of Texas and the Littlefield family are pretty cautious with the whole ghost thing. The university event staff that works in the building apparently don't encourage the rumors, and UT even took down any mention of it being haunted from their website, probably out of respect for the family.
Probably. Yeah.
Their denial of the attic story and her being locked in the tower just shows that they want to keep the facts straight. The Littlefield House itself, like I said, not open to the public, not even for ghost tours. I've tried, and it's currently used as an office space.
Yeah.
Maybe keeping it off limits kind of adds to the mystery a little bit, definitely.
Yeah, I think with them probably taking the mentions of locking an unwilling wife in a tower does sort of clear the name of any kind of abuse allegations that are like tied in with that statement, you know.
Right. I think it was maybe George and Alice's like great grandson. It was someone in their family line that said in an interview like the abuse allegations are like complete BS. Don't believe everything that you hear kind of thing. So they're definitely not keen on the ghost stories.
Yeah.
And local historian Jim Neiko, I think, thinks the ghost stories might just be because the house is old and in a prominent spot on campus where these kinds of legends tend to pop up. But also, there's a rumor around town that alleges that there is a secret tunnel.
Always. Through the mountain.
Through the mountain. But there's a rumor that the secret tunnel goes from the Capitol building downtown to the Littlefield House. And the idea is that important politicians might use it if there was ever an emergency and they need to evacuate quickly to somewhere that's safe and secure.
Like the Littlefield House.
I'd like to think that's why Littlefield House is so off limits, because no one can know about the secret tunnel just in case it ever has to be used.
But like, why of all places to hide away in an emergency event would politicians and like people in power run to a fuck-ass old house on UT campus, you know?
What if there's a safe room somewhere in there?
Maybe.
And
I mean,
then,
why not
like,
build it closer to the Capitol building then?
Well,
that's
that way,
far.
like,
That's at least 3 miles of underground tunnel running.
yes, but no one would suspect that they were there, right? That's the perfect
You're right.
place to go.
It's a silly idea.
Place to go.
It's a silly idea.
Listen, Neiko.
You're never gonna guess where I'm going. The safe house underneath the Capitol? No, the old house on UT campus that is hard to get into. Okay.
It makes sense to me. It makes sense. So there you have it, the Littlefield House on UT campus. A beautiful old Victorian mansion, fascinating history, a whole lot of spooky stories. Whether you believe in ghosts like me or not, like apparently Neiko, there's no real denying that this place has this certain eerie charm. From that phantom piano music to the shadowy figures, possible guardian angel in the dorm next door, it definitely leaves you wondering if there are still spirits hanging out. The last time I visited the house, like I said, back in January, as we were walking around the house, we knocked on the basement door. It's a door to the outside. We knocked on it to see if we might be able to sneak in, which I'm not condoning. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. But we knocked.
That is
and
a
the
crime.
door didn't, right? We just knocked. That was not a crime.
Right.
But the door didn't open, even though there was a light on inside. And we started walking away, and as soon as the door was out of our sight, like we had gone like almost around the corner from it, we heard the door open and sounded like someone said something. They didn't like yell it. It just sounded like someone was speaking for a second, and then it slammed shut.
Damn.
And I'm not saying that was a ghost. It totally could have just been some person working in the basement at 11 p.m. on a Friday. But regardless,
those do exist, you know.
It was like shivers down my spine. Like, did that just happen? Is that what I thought it was?
Is it possible it could have been like a security guard being like, "Go away"?
It's possible, but they don't investigate unless there's multiple.
Like they don't go inside.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I mean, maybe they were already in there.
Mm-hmm. That is strange.
Yeah, but you don't know. It's pretty crazy. I've also seen an unedited, like on someone's phone, has not been edited, picture of a few people posing for a picture in front of the like really intricate front door. Mm-hmm. And in the background of the picture, right behind them, if you zoom in, you can see a very clear old Victorian woman's face right in the window.
I'm gonna need to see this picture.
I know. I need to get my hands on it. I have to ask my ghosty friends.
Yeah, we need to attach this photo.
Yeah. It's friggin' weird. But I kind of also wish I was in that picture, you know?
Yeah,
like, I wish it was me.
I'm in this picture with a ghost.
Anyway, on to my second haunted location here. We're going to head to a place where there's a whole lot of spirits who may have decided to stick around. This is Oakwood Cemetery. If you know anything about haunted places, which you probably do, cemeteries are at the top of the list. Oakwood Cemetery is very old. Like, very old. We're talking, like, back to the 1850s. And some people think the land might have been an ancient Native American burial ground even before that, which is always good.
What?
That's sarcasm. So, plenty of time for some spirits to get a little restless. Mm-hmm. This place sprawls out over 40 acres, and there are over 23,000 people buried there.
Wow.
That is a whole lot of potential.
Is it full? Like, That's a good question. No more residents, like, accepting.
That's a really good question. I wonder if it's just like important people in Texas that maybe have the option, but I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah. I feel like, well, because vacancy doesn't really open up at a cemetery, you know?
Right.
They don't have people moving out of there.
Or at least it shouldn't.
well, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's zombies.
I wish that's where this story was going.
That'd be
not.
Why are no ghost stories ever zombie related? They never go the zombie direction. It's always I saw some dust moving around. I saw a ghoul. I saw
You know what,
literally
though?
decrepit, skin falling off, like monster, and it was running at me.
There are some cryptids that are seen around Austin, so maybe I'll do another one on that. The Austin cryptids. So, one of the most well known ghosts hanging out at Oakwood is a young woman named Eula Phillips. This girl was only 17 when she was brutally murdered with an axe on Christmas Eve in 1885. Her husband was actually accused, but then cleared when other similar murders started happening in the area.
How old did you say she was?
She was 17.
I thought you said
Yeah.
married.
And this is back in the 1800s.
Married, 5 kids.
Probably.
Yeah, classic.
But they never actually caught the real killer, who the press dubbed, and I quote, "Servant Girl Annihilator."
Whoa.
What an endearing nickname.
Whoa.
People have reported seeing Eula's ghost wandering through the tombstones at night, looking confused and wailing, like she doesn't even realize that she's dead. Some psychics have even sensed her presence. And for me, it's super sad to think about her being, like, stuck there and not even knowing that she's, like, dead, and, like, how do we get her to the other side?
Isn't that the whole point of, like, ghosts, is they don't realize that they're dead? Like, that's the thinking for ghosts. Like, they're
Depends on
stuck
the ghost.
between the living world and the dead world, and they can't, like, or maybe I'm melding this too much with, like, fiction, but I thought that was, like, the whole point was, like, they don't realize that they're dead.
It depends on the ghost. From the theories and research that I've done, that I've dabbled in, it depends. Some of them know, some of them are just stuck in place, some of them are, like, able to wander around a bigger area, some of them are, what do you call it, like, in on the fact that they're dead.
Poltergeist.
Yeah.
That's like when they know they're
like
dead,
that.
right? And they're just like
Yeah,
fuck around with people.
But not all of them necessarily fuck around with people.
Oh, I thought that's
Some
what
of
a
them are
poltergeist
good.
was.
A poltergeist, yes,
Yes.
but some of them they're keen to the fact that they are dead, but they're not gonna, like, cause trouble. And it's what...
The Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yes, exactly. There's another ghost that is a Confederate general named Thomas Green. This guy was a big deal in the Civil War, but he and a lot of his troops were killed in 1864 during a battle. People have supposedly seen his ghost wandering around his grave, still decked out in his military uniform. What's even creepier is that there are recordings online that some believe are phantom hoofbeats, like a horse. Like he's maybe, like, reliving his final charge in battle. And like I said at the top of the episode, I have not visited this location, so I can't speak from my own experience. But my friend, Taylor, she's done some paranormal investigating there, and she was using a spirit box. And again, if you don't know what a spirit box is, it's just like kind of white noise or, like, static, or it spins through radio stations really fast. And the theory is that ghosts and spirits can kind of talk on top of those frequencies. So she's in her car, and she's kind of talking to the void, trying to get some interaction, someone to use the spirit box. And she knew that there were a lot of Civil War vets buried there. So she was saying things like, "Thank you for serving your country and keeping Texas safe, for giving your life for your state and our freedom," things like that. And on the recording, there's a video, clear as day. You can hear a voice over the spirit box say, "You're welcome."
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
I hope it wasn't a Confederate soldier that said you're welcome.
It probably was, but just from a paranormal investigation standpoint, like, that's fucking insane. It's, when I watched the video the first time, I, like, audibly gasped when I heard it.
Yeah.
And I will have to ask Taylor if we can post that video too.
Yeah.
so that you guys can see it.
It does sound like it's you're welcome.
It's just so clear. So another famous figure buried at Oakwood is Susanna Dickinson, who you might know from the Battle of the Alamo. She survived. She was one of the few. Her husband was killed there, and her account of the battle is like a huge part of what we know and why we know it about the Battle of the Alamo. People have claimed to see her apparition wandering around the cemetery, sometimes described as a really clear, almost like ectoplasmic vision.
The green goop?
The green goop. But imagine running into a ghost who witnessed such like a pivotal moment in history, literally at the Alamo, and survived. I would want to ask her so many questions.
Yeah.
And another thing, Oakwood Cemetery has a bit of a dark past when it comes to grave robbing.
Oh, so there was vacancies.
Right. There are rumors that back in the day, medical professors would sneak in and steal freshly buried bodies to use for experiments, which is seriously messed up, but it's pretty common to hear about back in that time, where people would go get the freshly buried bodies and either sell them or use them for medical experiments.
They wrote a whole book about that.
Did they?
Yeah, it's called Frankenstein.
Oh.
What a setup that was.
I was so excited. I was like, I want to read this book.
It's a pretty interesting book. It is a pretty,
I've already read it.
It is a pretty cool book.
It's alive.
Yeah, that also didn't happen in the original one.
Well, you know what? I don't care. So back to the cemetery.
Oh, yeah, right. My bad.
Some people believe that these restless spirits of the stolen bodies are still roaming the cemetery because their eternal rest has been disturbed. Another story is the story of John Barclay Armstrong, who was a legendary Texas Ranger known as McNally's Bulldog. Another great nickname.
That's a good nickname.
He was the one who finally caught the notorious outlaw John Wesley Hardin. Both of these guys are buried at Oakwood, and some people have reported hearing the sounds of gunshots and seeing flashes of gunpowder near their graves at night. So maybe their rivalry might have followed them into the afterlife.
They're in a perpetual duel. That's crazy. In a perpetual gunfight.
Isn't that crazy?
That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, actually.
If that's what you're into for eternity, then I'm glad. But I would not want to be stuck in a battle forever.
Well, they don't know. Clearly, they keep doing it.
Oakwood Cemetery isn't just a collection of spooky stories, though. It's a really important historical site. It's actually the oldest city-owned cemetery in Austin, established in 1839. It's the final resting place for a ton of Austin's pioneers, builders, notable figures, including former governors, Civil War vets, and even the first African-American city councilman of Austin, Henry Green Madison. It has sections that were historically segregated, and this is historically segregated, just to be clear, for Black, Latino, and Jewish residents. So while it might be pretty spooky, it's also a place that you can go and really connect with Texas history and the Austin's past. So there you have it. A double dose of Austin hauntings. From the Grand Victorian mystery of Littlefield House to the historical and spectral residents of Oakwood Cemetery, Austin has its fair share of spooky spots. And whether you believe like me or you just love a good ghost story like Neiko, these places definitely have a spooky air to them. And I would like to think you would go with me to visit some of them.
I totally would. Next time I'm out there to visit, I 100% would do that. That sounds fun.
Let's go to the cemetery. I want to go so bad, but I don't want to go by myself.
I think that like ghosts are such a fun like concept and a topic of conversation. And I also find it equally funny some of the things that people will be like, "Oh my god, that's a ghost!" Like something will happen, like a wind will blow or like whatever will happen, and be like, "That's a ghost." Like the lights flickering, you know.
Part of the, like, I don't want to say duty because it's the word duty, but like part of your responsibility if you're paranormal investigating is you have to debunk anything that you think is paranormal activity. Like you have to really look around and be like, okay, is there a draft? Are we getting an EMF read because we're near an outlet? Like you have to really look at those things.
I think there's far too many people now that will actively look for things to just, bolster their story rather than people truly being like, what is this? Can it be debunked? And it sounds like that's the path that you like taking, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
For integrity's sake and for entertainment's sake.
Exactly. And shows like Ghost Adventures, right, with Zach Bagans, he definitely like dramatizes things for the show where like someone feels like a freckle of dust land on their shoulder and they're like, whoa, I just felt something. Yeah. But I will say in the video clips that they show, they do say like, hey, you see this little dot? Well, it looks like it could be a spirit, but also it could be a piece of dust. Like if you see like, and they like go in depth of like, you can see how it kind of shimmers and that means it's dust. And then they go into like, but this one over here doesn't shimmer. So it's not dust and it's unexplained, like that kind of thing.
Right.
So I do really appreciate that because nobody likes being yoinked around.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. That's all I got for you, Neiko. Thank you so much for your time and effort and dedication to the podcast thus far. And I really couldn't have done it without you. So
yeah,
seriously, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. It's fun doing it.
I'd love to have you like back on as a guest if I do some more spooky episodes. Well, it has been lovely. That's all I got for you today. I'll be back next week with another like crime episode. Get back to the roots. And it's going to be a really good one. It's going to be with my friend Morgan, who lives in California, but she's here visiting this week. So it was like, I have to get you on the podcast. So stick around for that. See y'all next week. And until then, remember, friends don't let friends commit crimes.
Unless it's for to go find a ghost.
Unless it's to go find a ghost.
Go find a ghost.
Yeah. But also, I don't condone that. Don't do it. But if you're going to find a ghost, like
a little bit of trespassing never hurt, Just don't take shit or break shit. Go find a ghost.
Be respectful if you're gonna go to these places.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Yeah. Go find that ghost.